Thank you so much, Graves. And Rebel Fox, you guys are absolutely correct. One of these teams, they're going to be sent home, and the other one, they're going to be able to make it to playoffs. So it is genuinely do or die. We now had a different draft come through here, Daption. It's something that you mentioned specifically that you wanted to see Cincinnati Fear. It's exactly what they did, and it worked out for them, didn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the hyper carry on Sketch, a lot of the, being able to peel Sketch, being able to stop the enemy engage, being able to, get the fights that, Sketch is able to rack up damage on. That was what they needed. And what I really didn't like from MU is the pick of Wukong into Talia, because it's like a very hard engage matchup for Wukong, essentially. And pairing the Talia up with Tom Kench from Plugs really just solidified that disengage comp, where if you're not able to hard engage to them with Bard ult, it's so hard for you to play the game. And you needed to get, up to 3-man Bard ults from Zyko. Yep. And unfortunately that didn't happen this game. But maybe it can happen in the next game. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Veteran, the Wukong pick as well, specifically, there was a fight happening in front of Herald. That was the first replay that we have, where it kind of showed glimpses of what maybe is lacking in the comp. Can you walk us through that replay?
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, the whole draft was quite weird, but Adaption's absolutely right on the money when it comes to this Wukong pick. The other pick here, though, that I'm seeing have no utility is Bard. He actually had a really, really good window just before this fight to be here for this Herald, and yet somehow Fear are able to be up here for the Herald play itself, so they're getting no utility from the Bard. Wukong goes in, but it's so difficult for him to actually heal for the rest of his team. However, Fear overextend again, clearly showing they're not exactly the better mechanical players here, but this is one of the few groupings that MU's actually able to get favoured over them. The fact that they weren't there for the Herald in the first place is the bigger issue for me, because then I question why you're going Bard at all if you're not going to play heavy for topside, and yet you open the draft with Gangplank, and Gangplank indicates to me you want to play more heavy towards bot, but then you draft Ezreal Bard. So now there isn't really anything for them to play for in the early game. They're not even able to get first rotation up towards topside. Sure, they won the fight, but they dropped the Herald for it, right? And this was the story of the rest of the game. There wasn't really any windows for them to lock down the Jinx. There wasn't any early plays that the Bard could make. Basically, all the Bard ended up doing was just ultimating for the Herald play. But the only positive thing I can say about the draft is that they did the very Chad move of picking in order top jungle, mid, ADC support.
Yeah, gotta respect that.
Otherwise, as Daption says, not only is it just that you've picked Wukong to Talia, you've started to pick Engage into a full disengaged team, and you've found no way around that to get onto Sketch, and Sketch, he was able to carry. Like, this is the threat we saw from game one of him. He's a very aggressive player, and here there were no tools for him to be afraid of. So
yeah. Sketch just in the backline doing so much damage as you expect him to do. Spoke about him last game as well. And Veteran, you mentioned how the macro play was maybe something that was lacking in regards of how they played out their draft. But in Daption, in the second clip here, we see that Maryville University, they are just leaving mid lane open.
Yeah, so when it comes to their side lane play, Maryville is very good at throwing people into the side lane, but unfortunately leaving Azog in the mid lane and opening up the mid lane for the enemy jungler to just Talia ult onto you, opening up that third tier tower is not going to be beneficial. Unfortunately, Trickster ended up staying a little bit longer and then falling to his own demise, but this is something that happened multiple times during the series and something that Maryville should definitely look into.
Yeah, I mean, see how far behind they are on the map in that play, right? They're taking tier 1 on top side, but because you have the push on midsection as free on the side of Fear, you can't extend any further than that. You have to retreat. So you see them reset, but now what's open for Fear? They can just go and take full Baron control. You may as well not have taken that tower at all. You haven't just left your ADC open. You've left every big objective on the map open as well. They lost complete control of the game by that point.
And is there a specific player that you think, Veteran, we need to be looking out for? Like, you already spoke about the incredible AD carry for Fear and how much impact they have. Is there anyone else that you think can have just as much impact on the game, or is it still that solid player that we need to be looking out for?
There was a player that was incredibly solid in game one that we didn't really talk about much because we were talking a lot about Fear, but APA was incredibly solid in game one. And APA showed in game two, like there were a few times he almost solo killed his opponents again. I think enabling this guy and not putting him on something like Swain where he becomes more of a facilitator, much more dependent on his team, put him on a carry and you have a carry 2-match sketch on the side of Fear and pivot the rest of the team around that. You play for mid lane, play for APA, instead of what we're used to seeing, which is APA play for everyone else. Just play for him, and I think that's their best shot if you're looking at one specific player.
Yeah, well, we still have a little activity to get into in Daption this one time. I'm going to give you the first guess to see whether or not you're going to be able to get it correct. You got the first one correct. So the question is, which player has a 37-inch vertical leap out of all the players?
This one's really hard, but
That could be a little clue.
yeah. What's the clue?
The graphic.
AoE randoms. I mean, I'm gonna say something like, I don't know. Is Kitsuo even a part of the teams that I should be saying? I don't know.
Okay, well,
I think Kitsuo.
Take that one as your guess. Veteran, you have that opportunity to try and best him this time around.
If anyone has 37 inches on that team, it's my boy Geiger.
Oh, you got it right. That is absolutely
What?
correct. Absolute Chad. The Giga Brain 5-head moves coming through from the analyst desk. And we're going to see whether or not the predictions are going to be correct for this final game. We've got Veteran voting for MU. We got Daption voting for Fear. It's going to be the battle of the predictions as we head into the final game. After which, one of these teams, unfortunately, will have to say goodbye to them. So it's do or die. Grapes and Rebel Fox, take it away one last time for this series.
Thank you very much, Janiro. And let's, on that theme a little bit, we're about to hop into this next game. Do or die, as Janiro suggested, Rebel. One of these teams are going to be making the playoffs, and the other one, unfortunately, going to say goodbye to, I would say, a bit prematurely.
Yeah, again, it's tough because I feel like these are two teams that come the end of the summer will be competing with their competition points to be able to actually get into proving grounds, and this is a big roadblock to that kind of thing. Not only being able to qualify for top 10, but also for that coveted top 6. Feels like either one of these two teams could legitimately be a threat potentially. Now, I will say the winner of this doesn't have a particularly nice date for our quarterfinals matchup because they're up against Jake's Kittens, which is a very tough team to bear one way or another. Nonetheless, it's kind of miraculous to see both of these teams. I feel like could be very competitive with Jake's Kittens or any other team inside of the quarterfinals. So watching them here scrap it out, like it's always proof. Coaches like to talk about, we think about the here and now. You think about the team that's ahead of you. I'm really hoping that's still the case for both these teams because they're in that position. That's necessary at this moment.
And of course, like the he beat this guy and he beat this guy kind of argument obviously is a bit kind of scuffed, to say the least, in terms of trying to describe strength between these two teams. But Maryville played a very close series against 100 Thieves Next, who are the #1 seed in this tournament, and Cincinnati Fear have been able to go toe-to-toe with Maryville time and time again. So it does seem like these three teams are very, very close in skill at the moment, and it's very sad to say goodbye to them, one of them very early on, but I think this final game will really determine who is that superior team and who really is going to be able to represent Group A well into the playoff stage.
And now, I think with the adaptations we saw in the last game, Maryville going back to blue side so that they can kind of control some of the picks that are coming through. Now you have to be careful about the Talia going over to the side of Maryville. You have to be careful about the Gangplank and what it's capable of doing at a B1 position. And I think you have to respect some of the champion power that comes through with having the B1 on the side of Maryville that in the previous game you didn't, which was, like I said, they picked red side game 1, Maryville did, because they knew there were no bans in the first phase and they thought they could take advantage of that, and clearly it worked very well. But game 2, it was clear that was not going to happen a second time with the number of bans that was held by Fear. So now they get their blue side, they get a preference, and I think that changes a lot of the bans that are going to be coming in here.
Yeah, it is interesting to see because we saw things like the Darius being taken away on red side for Maryville, and now onto the blue side, probably have to, you probably can still focus on targeting some of those, super specific like pocket picks that some of these players end up having. And now the real advantage here for Maryville is they are able to select one of those supposed power picks for themselves in the B1. Of course, there's a lot of power picks here, so maybe Fear end up getting the better hand of that trade. But if there's one specific pick that Maryville really want, this is the opportunity to grab that as we head into the final draft of this series.
Victor ? Whether that's
it's got to get to the bands
potential.
First,
it really does. Yeah, it truly does. I remember last time when these two teams played, I actually talked to APA about this, and he said he and Get Back, which is the backup mid laner for Maryville, they talked about it, and they knew Victor was a powerful champion coming in. Both of them knew that Victor was going to be something incredibly powerful to them. So to me, that right now jumps up to almost the top of the table for either Fear to ban or take away as fast as possible. And if they don't ban it or take it away, Maryville feels very much so like they might actually just first pick it the way it's been dominating. And I'm glad that Fear understands that, because they take it away immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody on Fear, even if it's not just like them thinking that Victor is a strong champion, it's them remembering all the times that they've been shut down and beat up by APA on the Victor, that they just all think to themselves, yeah, we definitely don't want to play against that one in our do or die matchup here in the last day of the group stage. A Wukong takeaway is pretty important here. Again, there's always that question of the Wukong setting up potential Talia set picks or Lilia pickups here in the jungle, and that's going to be taken away. So Trickster not going to be able to get his hands on the Monkey King.
Okay, so things like Gangplank are now available. You've got Orange still on the board as a possibility. You've got Lucian, and you've got Talia. Those are the ones that I'm looking at right now as potential bans from Fear, and champions that are available for Maryville if they really, really want. Depending, that list also probably has to be considered by Maryville too. Gwen actually gets taken off. I think that makes a lot of sense. They don't want Dragoon to be getting that champion once again. That's the champion he kind of did quite a bit of damage with last week when they played.
Yeah, definitely a very strong pick, and we're seeing a lot of topside focus bans coming out from the likes of Maryville, which is interesting, especially considering how great a performance Sketch and Plugs have had throughout this series. They were able to get the comfort in the Jinx, Tahm Kench, and really take over. And not even mentioning that Twitch game that happened in their loss in game number 1. Talia is the final ban here for Cincinnati, which leaves up a lot of really good stuff for Maryville to try to select.
Really does. Now it's a question of what are they actually going to take here. I think Karma usually is one of their number ones, and Victor certainly would have been that case, and now Talia would have been that case. So is it jungler first? Is it something else first? I had forgotten the Senna even existed here for a second because it got banned the last 2 games, but available and immediately picked up by Maryville to make sure that they've got it instead of giving it over to the Fear, giving it over to Sketch. He's very proficient on that champion. So this is one of the first times I know on this patch, Senna has been insane, and so it's not shocking at all. They must have been playing it in practice, must have been scrimming with it. Everybody knows how strong it is. Slips through the bans. Now we see what Fear wants to trade for. The Ahri for Blaze, again, comfort.
It's very interesting, especially considering that Azog is playing down in the bot lane here for Maryville. When you think of Maryville Senna, you normally think of their other bot laner, Evan RL, who currently is not on this Proving Grounds roster, over on DK Crew instead. But Azog now getting his hands on a little bit more of a utilitarian champion down in the bot lane. The punish and the response for Cincinnati Fear is once again a hard carry for Sketch, this time the Kog'Maw.
And coming up with ideas for what you can actually do to break what is Senna, Tahm Kench in the bottom lane because of how powerful a duo those champions truly are. One of them that pops up is Kog'Maw because, again, Tahm Kench doesn't have the most consistent engage, especially if your flash is available. It's really tough to get that. And you have ways to get through all of the thick fat that is held by the health bar of Tahm Kench, as well as having range to contend with Senna in the earlier stage of the game. You pair it with a Lulu or something aggressive, you go crazy. I'd actually heard things about this pairing specifically. I think it was just yesterday when I was actually at LAN, people were talking about this combo on 1210, and I actually get to see it with my own eyes here the day after I hear about it, the Senna Seraphine.
You know, I actually want to cast your mind, Rebel, just back to 2021 spring, when Evan RL and Shady played this pickup, this Senna Seraphine bot lane, the double Moonstone bot lane combination, while that item was just really strong. And it's definitely something that Maryville is used to picking up and having in their arsenal. And it looks like we're going to see that again, unless, again, of course, it is an APA on the Seraphine again. So we're not entirely sure just yet. The Olaf will be locked in on the R3. A lot of decisions and a lot of questions have to be answered on both sides as we head into the second phase of bans.
The Olaf top lane, I think, went fine last game, so I'm expecting that here for Dragoon. They could still flex it if they wanted to. The real question is, what information are you wanting to withhold? Mostly because right now, you kind of still don't know where the Olaf is going to go, and you don't have your support locked in. So you either hold the support pick, and you pick something else alongside the Olaf that either flexes to hold it, or you just give up that information. Then you find out where Maryville's bot lane is going to go to try to punish with Sketch and Plux the way you have most of the series. Or you pick your support, knowing it's probably going to be set a Seraphine into the bot lane almost certainly, hoping it doesn't get flexed for APA into the mid lane, which you would find out by your 5th pick, so that you can hold something, maybe put the Olaf into the jungle, flex one of your solo lanes.
It's like mid lane focus here for Fear, bot lane focus here for Maryville. When you think of Kog'Maw pairings, Lulu and Yuumi certainly come to mind, and Plux has been very, very good on these enchanters, so very nice of them to kind of pinch that pool a little bit further. I really like this out of Trickster, getting him on something that can really engage into the composition of Maryville that is able to provide so much space for themselves. And we're finally going to see here on this 4-5, where is the Senna going, where is the Seraphine going, and what does Maryville's final draft look like?
Okay, we get comfort for Odd Orange. It's Lee Sin. It's something he's played time and time and time again. He's famous for it. He was playing it this weekend. He plays it as often as he can get it because he is very, very good at what he does with this Lee Sin pick, being able to manage in the earlier stages up against the Jarvan. The Xerath would be something a little bit out of the ordinary. The Nico would make a lot more sense because we have APA in this game, of course.
Yeah, it's not Captain Shrimps here. APA is a different mid laner with different mid lane pool.
Oh, here we go. Okay. This is a bit more blankets than something like the Nico, which is more specifically tailored to the matchup. I think the Syndra is just safety. APA is a very good Syndra player. He almost full carried games this weekend with that champion on its own, so I'm not shocked to see. I think it was against an Ahri as well, so he's shown proficiency with this very heavily. I was kind of going crazy with theory crafting here for a minute, and I was like, what if Jarvan support? Because you drop a flag, you get an attack speed buff your Kog'Maw, and you're on top of them, right? Like, you actually makes a lot of sense in a double enchanter, but they just go for the Nautilus, which feels like it's going to get attacked a lot against the Senna Seraphine combination, but it is that standard go-to support for a lot of supports in the bottom lane because of how much the champion does. So yeah. I don't love it in the laning phase, but obviously you're pairing with the Kog'Maw, you're trying to get out of the laning phase, trying to set up for it to fight.
I know there's a lot of debate about like how good Nautilus is in the meta right now, especially against the likes of Seraphine and other enchanters that just have a lot of range. And the big thing for Fear is now they have really set engage, and they know when they want to pick their fights, and they're going to be able to do so very, very well. The big problem here now is that Sketch doesn't have a whole lot of protection. He's going to have to kind of play these fights out himself. Of course, he's a very skilled player on his own, and so have a lot of trust in onto this bot laner again, who has been the primary win condition for this team throughout this series. And it's going to be crazy. I think a lot of the fights, again, haven't gone the distance so far between these two teams, Rebel, but hopefully we see it here. It's game 3 between Maryville and Fear.
So now, I mean, Sketch is stepping into just like the hyper carry mode, right? Like the Ahri isn't really intended to do so. The Olaf isn't intended to do so. They pick a Jarvan that can help you set up, Nautilus to help you set up. You've got so much to assist with this. They don't have the ability, I think they were too far back in the brush to actually full take that. Oh, they're going to use the sweeper on it just to make sure. And they're going to give it to Dragoon to make sure that he gets the level 2 against the Olaf really quick. So that's at least something notable to talk about. But it feels like this is a dynamic shift from Maryville entirely. The last couple of games, it feels like their bottom lane has been all about, setting up for a roam, setting up something like that. In this game, it is a very bunker-heavy bottom lane, a lot of healing, a lot of innate ability to kind of attack from a very long distance away, and their solo lanes are incredibly powerful. Niles, Gangplank, APA, Syndra are two things you have to be terrified of, and it feels like that top side could be what they're playing for. The way our desk had kind of put it, playing to APA, maybe playing into Niles, and making sure they are the ones getting a bunch of resource, because now your bottom lane might be self-sufficient enough to not fall victim to Sketch and Plux.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Even if they do fall behind, Azog and Zyko will surely be very, very powerful in terms of just helping to facilitate the top side of the map if they are able to get to a point where the snowball starts to roll. Interestingly enough, though, we do see Odd Orange starting on the top side of the map, going for the blue buff, and Dragoon here, maybe going for a little bit of cheeky play, popping that bone plating early on.
So I think normally Niles would want to do this. You have to be a little bit careful into Olaf, but wow, wait, Trickster.
Ooh,
that was kind of goosey, brother. Like that was a little bit nuts. He's blocking the red buff from walking at him with the flag, and it just came back to smite it. That was kind of cool. Never seen somebody do that before. I wonder if it was intentional or not.
Either way, very innovative stuff coming out from Trickster, and it'll help the clear go a little bit faster. And now we actually see Dragoon going aggressive into Niles in the 1v1, has the Ignite as well.
Hatchet, yeah.
Not enough damage to secure the kill, though.
Had to defend the Hatchet there with the Corrupting Paw should be kind of fine. Of course, with the shield, it's a lot of sustain the Dragoon is going to have. He has Ignite this time, no TP instead. Goes for Ghost Ignite for the aggression in the laning phase. But again, Niles, the full Corrupting Potion should get him back to pretty high health. Did a good job. Actually, now, Dragoon under some really severe threat. Ignite goes down, he's dead.
Niles,
he's dead, he's dead.
He pops the Ignite. That's the kill. We thought Dragoon had the upper hand, but Niles says absolutely not.
Corrupting Pod diff really pumped all 3 charges as fast as he could, got up to as high health as he could, and also allowed for poke. Because we got like a mid lane play and play. There's some shenanigans happening there.
Down in the bot lane, so didn't get the engage just yet, but now Trickster in the area as well. Maryville's bot lane is pushed pretty far up, but Odd Orange is in the area. Hook misses, but the Flag and Drag finds 2. Now Odd Orange here to join the fray. Get rooted up here as the health bars do drop for the Fear. Plux is so low, but Maryville aren't able to take him down. Meanwhile, APA getting a solo kill onto Blaze. A lot of plays going back and forth, but it's only APA who ends up with any sort of gold.
I swear every game APA plays, he's just like, there's always this instant where just like everything breaks, the lane is his, and he just solo kills his opponent. And it's happened time and time again, all split. Pretty much no matter the series, you almost can find it. His bot lane, the play doesn't come through for Fear. They aren't able to step up with Trickster, who is able to find that massive EQ into them. Odd Orange on a nice cover. And again, that to me is the big difference this game. Maryville's bot lane is very defensive. They're not about roaming. They're not about just like waiting around. They don't have the ability to be aggressive against his easily, because again, you can bunker with all this healing, you can bunker with all this range, and it's so hard to find aggression. Sketch is going to get slowed down because of it, and it opens up this top side aggression. Already solo kills for both solo laners in this game.
Big stuff coming out from Maryville. We talked about the top side of this map being very, very, very good, and you see the stats right here. AP on Syndra, very good stats, 3.47 KDA as well. I feel like you say the same thing about a lot of different champions that APA ends up piloting, just because how wide of a pool he has and how good he is on so many different champions.
Okay, there was a time and a place where his Syndra was not good. I think it was 2020 when I was like, yeah, it is improvement. It's true. Like, there was a time and a place where this guy was an Aurelion Soul one-trick. He was a Kled mid lane one-trick. Like, all he did was roam out of his lane, and he's gotten so much better, not only in the development from amateur, but also in approaching Maryville, being able to get some of the champions in the pool necessary. It's really been miraculous to see the kind of development from this player being a star on this team for a lot of good reasons. And one of those character development traits, of course, being that his Syndra is now one of the best champions. It's very rare I give a Syndra seal of approval, but I give mine to AB 100%. He's a beast on this character.
Yeah, we saw some solo kill there. A nice stun as well, just right then onto Blaze, just continuing to get the early pressure here in this mid lane, which is so impactful for this Maryville lineup. We're seeing another aggressive play, trying to be sparked up by Fear. They want to try to feed Sketch as much as they possibly can, but Azog and Zyko are just not having it.
Doing a good job playing defensively. Once again, in the last couple of games, Trickster has really bore down on this bottom lane, making sure there's going to be something. Or in game 1, it was just Sketch and Plux doing it on their own. They didn't have to worry about it. But here, again, Zyko and Azog not falling.
They really want to kill down in the bot lane. Hook again misses from Plux, and it looks like Zyko is just going to be able to run on out of there. Cincinnati Fear spending so much time down in the bot lane, but Maryville are having none of it.
Absolutely not. And now Trickster, below half health, Plux is sitting 2/3 health, something like that, for basically nothing. Basically no trade onto Zyko at all. You can see some really insane stuff. This is Maryville's comfort zone in my mind, that there's just no way to aggress against the bottom side, so Sketch is not going to get accelerated in any way. And look at APA right now, man. He's like proxying mid-wave. This is insane.
You see this sometimes when Maryville has to play the early rounds with Swiss against some lower ranked teams. Not against Cincinnati Fear, as once again, finally a hook lands in onto Plux. Azog getting chunked low, and Sketch finally gets onto the board with a kill. Looks like we see a bit of a freeze on our screen right now, but not entirely sure what's happening here. But finally, Fear get up on top.
Yeah, and now also Trickster is able to respond to mid lane, and so it's likely that that's going to get stopped at least pretty quickly. APA is not likely to die to a gank right now, but it's very likely he just gets shoved off the tower to buy Blaze a little bit of breathing room. So that is a nice break finally for Fear coming through. Because again, the Fear for this composition is like Blaze has damage, probably not going to be the hyper carry of the team in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, you're not going to be able to rip through most people's health bar as just the Ahri in a fight. Instead, that falls to Sketch more than anybody else in a game like this, and they've been playing now to their bottom lane. Like, they weren't in the first two. The first two were like, okay, Sketch is doing fine. This time, it feels like they have given him a lot of the eggs. Maybe not all the eggs, but most of the eggs are in the Sketch basket this game, and they've leaned into it so heavily, but Maryville has come up with a strategy. That first break kill, it's going to be a lot, but they have to keep doing it. They have to make sure that this is a continuous thing. What happened in the seconds we were gone? Because
Blaze died. That's what happened.
Okay, Blaze died. It looks like APA got a kill in the midst of everything. Did not die. Is not low health, so that means that Trickster didn't find his way there. And bottom lane, there was a kill. And it looks like Odd Orange was able to respond to the bottom side very well.
And no assist on Odd Orange as well, so I think that was just a solo kill for APA once again onto Blaze. Clearly getting the upper hand here in this 1v1 right now. We'll take a look at what happened here on the replay, but I think it was just APA doing APA things, but let's take a look right now at the bot side.
Yeah, this was the play here, and it's actually very nice from Flux to be able to Hex Flash out of the brush. They catch up. Azog can't really do anything. And on top of the Gangplank ultimate, Zyko actually has plenty of space to work with here. As soon as he has cooldowns, like, Sketch, look at him. He took so much damage. Oh my goodness, it was Niles who got the kill. I thought Odd Orange had a gank or something that actually led to this, but no, it was just the cannon barrage doing too much alongside the minion. Sketch stepped up a little too far, left by his support, and just goes down and giving another kill over to the Gangplank.
So a very good start for Maryville University. Up 4 kills to 1. Cincinnati Fear and Sketch has not been able to get up to a super accelerated state, and they're going to have to make the responses like we see on your screen right now. The Cataclysm into the Charm is big damage, and APA will surely go down, finally shut down into the hands of Trickster. Odd Orange and Zyko have arrived, though, and are looking to try and respond in a sort of 2v2 situation. Not going to find any kills, but they're going to be able to push Fear off of the wave.
The flash was burnt in the last play, it looked like, from APA when he was playing against Blaze, and so immediately the punishment comes through. Trickster trying to make sure that there is some kind of aggression against him so that he can't just keep running rampant in the mid lane the way he had in a couple of different times now when they've played up against Fear. Able to finally get that one. The kill goes on to Trickster himself as, wow, we get some scrapping between top laners.
Took down the barrel, so no extra damage there. Dragoon staying even in CS against Niles on the Gangplank is definitely no, easy feat, to say the least, and pretty good on his own, which basically not a lot of assistance from the rest of his team. It will be the first Rift Herald of the game, picked up again by Maryville. Odd Orange and Niles, this brutal topside duo, just going to try to break open Cincinnati just a little bit more.
Now Odd Orange is going to have opportunities in a number of places. You can try to go top lane with it, really get Niles ahead. You can put it in mid lane, and you can try to break out APA. That's not a typical strategy for Maryville. They don't always like to go for that mid-inner tower, or mid-outer tower, my apologies. They love to play it for side lanes very often. You saw that in the last game, and they'll absolutely do it again as Odd Orange is going to walk right onto a controller as Trickster's going to go in.
Now here's the attempted punish here onto Niles, but looks like Odd Orange arrives just in time. Niles survives, APA arriving as well. The Scout of the Week will not connect the stun, but big plays coming out from Maryville once again. They get another kill, and it looks like they're not going to pop the Herald just yet. Just going to try to deny as much as they can.
They lean as fast as they can into Niles right there, but the flash, the ignite, everything gets burnt just to make sure that comes through. And a clean combo from Odd Orange. Make sure that it's an immediate assassination onto Dragoon, so there's no response to be had. The health too low to drop the Herald, which does kind of suck, but it doesn't mean that it's useless, right? Like, they still have 4 minutes to get it down before plates, as they're just picking on Sketch right now.
Yeah, the Sketch is actually getting poked out really heavily. They're trying to buy the time to make sure Blaze is able to get to the fight, but Sketch dies before any sort of support arrives. Finally, Clutch trying to get that depth charge through. The Ahri trying to save the day, pick up any sort of kills, and Azog might just be the one punished. Another Spirit Rush unlocked here for the Ahri as he's going to dash forward. Blaze is able to reap the rewards of what Fear were trying to produce as they get 2 kills.
I was really happy with the performance at the top side of that play from the bottom lane. I'm actually going to hold this because it looks like Dragoon is going to get ganked by Odd Orange, and he's got the Rift Herald, so they really want this to go through.
Yep, no hard CC. Sonic Wave goes wide. Dragoon with a big shield to keep himself up and healthy. See APA, though, up here again. It is the top side of Maryville continuing to just harass Dragoon as he falls for the 3rd time in a row. Blaze with a teleport quickly back to try and respond. Trickster and Sketch are here as well. Flag and Drag will land the knock-up, another charm, and they will feed Sketch another kill. All in all, a 1-for-1. Fear doing a good job responding to the Maryville pressure.
They really, really wanted to break the top tower. I think they wanted to put it down and do the best that they could right there. And APA just supplants this as fast as possible because the kill onto Sketch happened just a little bit ago, and the bot lane had died, was still deploying from base for Maryville. There was no extra support, so they just had a numbers advantage to walk top lane with, especially after everything got burnt by APA just initially to set up the play, to set up the kill onto Dragoon in the first place. That was really, really well responded by Fear, who once again, their early game's looking okay. This time, they don't have the dragon, they don't have the kill lead, don't have the gold lead right now, but they're looking okay right now.
Lux again with an aggressive Hex flash over. Trickster and Sketch are here as well. Can they punish this bot lane duo once again? The Living Artillery will come out. The Cataclysm in onto Azog, who's looking to try to heal Zyko up as much as possible, but Sketch does too much damage and picks up a double kill. 2 more are fed into the Kog'Maw as Cincinnati Fear even the kill score right back up.
If at first you don't succeed, try again is the name of the game for Cincinnati Fear here. They're able to move themselves into a position where now, after like the first 2-3 ganks don't work on bottom side, it doesn't end up working out. That I don't think he quite has the ultimate backup because it looked like a solo kill coming in from APA once again as Blaze probably do the timer, but whew, that's a lot of damage coming through from APA Syndra. Again, grand takeaway, Sketch is doing great now. They've got the ganks to work.
It's again the Sketch Stream show here on the Cincinnati Fear side, continuing to just try to get this AD carry fed on a hyper carry and build the rest of the team around him in a 5v5. Backing and picking up the Blade of the Ruined King as well as the Berserker's Greaves, but he's not going to be able to be here at this fight. The Depth Charge lands in onto APA, who lands the Unleash Power onto nobody. Here comes the big damage just coming through. Odd Orange will likely be able to survive, but the Ignite from Plux finishes it off. Cincinnati Fear once again punishing the Rift Herald, nearly able to take down the turret, but no one is cracked open just yet.
Really, really trying to force it. Now, here, this is going to be a great one because there's going to be multiple plates, I think, going down now for Niles on the top side. So they do at least pick up a couple of things. First tower not quite going down. That's bonus gold that they can get in a little bit of time. APA does survive, can continue putting damage. Right there, it's just protection from Odd Orange, making sure APA was going to walk out of that situation with enough health to stick around. They will lose the dragon for it. But again, I think grand scheme of things, they got a couple of plates out of mid, couple of plates out of top, and they end up gold positive in this exchange for Mary. Tide and Dragons, they're all right with the position that they are currently in.
It's such a close game right now, Rebel. We are just about having the plates fall at the 14-minute mark, and it is dead even in gold at a 1-kill lead here for the Cincinnati Fear. Take a look at it. It was Maryville dominated for pretty much the entirety of the early game, but Fear finally able to try to make some responses. Sketch beginning to come online, and it's a bit of a preview for what we're going to have to expect come the late game.
A couple of the early plays coming out of APA and Niles, and again, the thwarting of the aggression coming out of Cincinnati Fear did not dissuade Fear from going back to bot lane, to getting Sketch into a positive place where he's going to be able to work. Now with Blade of the Ruined King, you're going to start into that build path, the on-hit, the crazy scaling Kog'Maw damage that can come through. We were actually reading through APA's answers earlier.
I want to hear
and
your theory about this, because I had something about the salad, and what does this mean?
Okay, so like... there's a theory in food where like everything is a soup, a salad, or a sandwich, right? Like I think this is an extension of that, where everything is just a salad if you think about it. Like, and I'm assuming that's what he means by this. It's just that anything can be a salad.
So does that mean that he's on a deserted island and he can have everything now?
That's right. Yeah, I think that's he's trying to goon the question a little bit. That's just who APA is, you know.
Can't you just say like food, and that's like the same answer?
No.
Like,
that's not specific enough, apparently.
But
like
salad
is, but everything is salad, so it's specific, but it's also general, you know.
APA, I don't know if I agree with your line.
APA's got 7,000 IQ, all right? You wouldn't understand.
He's doing much better in this game than I would have, as now Zyko gonna get punished down here in the bot side. So again, another kill into the hands of Sketch. 5-2-2 on this Kog'Maw. Gonna be another battle of the Titans, I think, once we get a little bit later into this game. The kills start to go in.
Interesting use of the Gangplank ultimate. It was to cut the wave and maybe useful to try to get this top tower first. So they get the mid tower, it looks like Minion actually brought that down. And then top tower is also going to go. So they get mid and outer, they get top outer, and they're going to get Rift Herald in exchange for the kill and the plate onto Kog'Maw in the bottom lane. Once again, Cincinnati Fear, they're putting all of their eggs into the Sketch basket. This is all Kog'Maw. The gold is in the right place. Even though it's a gold negative play, I think Cincinnati's Fear fine with it because the person getting the gold is so important to their team.
I really like how Cincinnati Fear is just continuing to go for some of these aggressive plays. Even now, Plux and Trickster on champions that can really spark big engages here. They're roaming around the map, trying to pick off whoever they can, and it seems to be working out well for them at the moment. Sure, Maryville are able to pick up a couple of extra structures, but the gold is still even, and crucially, as you said, Rebel, it's in the right place into Sketch.
One thing I do want to note about this game, which I think is really important, is that typically you see like a Kog'Maw with something that gives it a bunch of defense. You see it with enchanters that can buff up the health bar, give it shields, heal it, something along those lines, right? You see it with like maybe Tom Kench, maybe Thresh if you really need positioning, but oftentimes you see it with like Lulu. That's like the stock standard combo. You have none of that. If Sketch tanks and accidentally gets stunned, right? He's got Cleanse, he's got Flash, those are down. He gets stunned, he dies. He gets, Cannon Barrage into a like Gangplank Barrel, he dies. There is no other defense. He is pure offense, and his team is there to push forward, to buy him space to walk into this team. They have to be very careful. Sketch, specifically, is going to be tested. He was great last split. A lot of people loved Sketch, and I think he was amazing. It was well-warranted praise for what he was able to accomplish, and it's going to get tested again. Maryville is not going to make it easy for this Kog'Maw to position for late-game team fights with things like the Syndra that drops damage so fast, Gangplank Barrels, things like that. Make it so difficult for Sketch to be able to live if he's not very, very careful with his position.
It's almost like the best defense is a good offense kind of thing for Sketch in terms of the best way of keeping this Kog'Maw alive is not necessarily defending him, but just making sure that you have the potential to go in and engage and buy as much space for Sketch as you possibly can. Movements for Fear are continuing to work out for them at the moment. But once again, we're seeing the classic Maryville play. 4 stack in a side lane, and a double charm comes through. Big AoE damage! Blaze goes down. Trickster forced the flag and drag away, but the shot nearly taking him down as well. Trickster will survive, but it was a hell of a good play coming out from the Saints.
That's a pot diff right there, getting him out of that situation. But still, yeah, 2 of them got locked up in this massive amount of CC and just barely didn't knock down 2 of them. They get to knock down the inner tower, and they might actually get a charge of the Rift Herald directly onto the inner or the inhibitor tower. They might abandon it. They might not actually worry about it. All they have to do is tag the eye, and it's not going to be that much. So instead, with the reinforcements coming in, Fear is not going to give up anything else. But wow, what an incredible combination of ultimates. I wanted to talk about it eventually, too, which is like, you've got so much range is my issue with this. Normally when you have defense for Kog'Maw, right? It's a position where like you can prevent him from getting stunned up, you can prevent him from getting... What's to stop all this ranged damage from getting dropped into him? If I'm Sketch and I see this, I'm like, I'm terrified for what's going to happen in a team fight.
It was the shield, and I think Challenging Smite as well on to Niles that ended up saving Trickster. But yeah, it's just ability after ability after ability after ability that they can just continue to throw in essentially a very, very long range. So even though, Trickster and Blaze were kind of grouped up relatively close, the ability to go into a potential backline of Kog'Maw certainly is there if they're able to get that stacking correctly.
Okay, second dragon here for Cincinnati here. It's actually quite nice because I feel as though, once again, Maryville's team composition actually is good at fighting here because they've got that long-range engagement. They've got that long-range damage threat. They've got more than enough ability to challenge the positioning of the Kog'Maw to get through some of the frontliners as fast as possible. I feel like they're fine in that regard. And so Cincinnati Fear getting another dragon means it's like less time, less control to force the 5-on-5 than you normally would want. Maryville can start to like ramp up the side lane pressure, what we've seen them do again and again and again, what got punished in the last game, by just getting gold into a number of members. They can end up pulling quite a bit more than what the Kog'Maw is going to be able to. You can see the defense of topside, the warding protection for Sketch to grab that top tower even if the wave is not fully pushed in right now as a response to that bottom side push that had come in.
The other tower picked up here for the Fear. They're going to finally break open all of the outer structures. Going to funnel even more gold into Sketch if he decides to try to take this down. Doesn't look like anybody on Maryville will be here to try and punish this Kog'Maw from taking out this structure. So it will just be all 3 of the outer structures cracked open for them. And for Maryville as well, I believe. So at the 20-minute mark, again, still at a very even game state, Rebel.
But it is. We're so interested. And again, I'll pick your brain on this because I think this is a worthwhile discussion to have. You've got good run forward. You got like death ball composition kind of vibes coming through here from Fear, where they want the Kog'Maw to go up as far as they can with all of these abilities to kind of counterattack, right? You've got like even Dragon's Rage Kick. Well, you saw the combo earlier with Seraphine. It's so hard. How do they like actually like position themselves? If you're in a bad spot, if you get caught in a choke point, if like one person gets tagged with the encore coming through, I feel like it could be just lights out immediately for Fear's team fight.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem, and Maryville are able to work with the range advantage really, really well, but into range is Ico goes, and that's Blaze picking up a bit of a solo kill right here, so nice play coming out from the Cincinnati Fear. They get the pick in the one-on-one. APA trying to TP in. They're not going to be able to zone out Fear now that they're down 4v5. They have Dragoon pushing down in the bot lane as well, so looks like Maryville are going to have to respond one way or another. They're just going to go back to their base and try to go for a reset.
Wow, actually losing quite a bit across the map here because the resets are late. They were trying to set up, I think, in the midst of the mid-river. They were trying to set up around the Baron, maybe. But they lose so much. Bottom tower, mid-inner tower, like Sketch picked up one of those as well. That's a lot of gold that went back to Cincinnati Fear. They claimed the gold advantage, I believe, for the first time this game, just off that play. As Maryville, again, like, these instances the last two games where they're just getting caught out in the wrong position. They're kind of slumping a little bit, it seems like, in these mid games where they're not able to transition this like early lead that they have into something tangible. Again, I thought they were able to fight around Dragon. I'm surprised that they let Cincinnati Fear just take that so freely because it feels like it should be their objective to take. But now Cincinnati Fear's got to be feeling confident.
The biggest lead that Fear have had all game at this point. 2 items now on Blaze. Sketch working towards 3 with that Titanic Hydra. Nearly completed. Hopefully has it for this next fight. It would be sole point here for the Fear if they're able to pick it up. Adding even more sustain and survivability for Sketch if they're able to get this Ocean.
Be very mean. The amount of AoE damage you would have as well. It feels like almost like Nautilus should build Mikhail's. I think you have to be careful just because like it's not a great item on Nautilus specifically, but again, any defenses that Sketch can get is better, right? 1 stun for the cleanse, maybe something gets flashed during a fight if you got 1 more, if it's a, Dragon's Rage kit, if it's like a W or an E, an ultimate coming out from a couple of members, like the W from Senna or anything from Seraphine that causes CC. You need protection from it, and if your summoners are down, you gotta have something else. So if I were Sketch, I might actually yell at Flux and be like, build Mikhail's, I need one. Like, just to make sure, because again, it's so weird to see like a Kog'Maw that is this exposed in a fight. I haven't seen it tangibly quite yet, because it hasn't been inside of a fight. But again, if we ever get one, I really am so interested to see how Sketch is gonna play it out, because I feel like it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, and that's kind of the question. Even if Sketch is able to pick up all these kills, get all this gold, if he's not able to do any damage or get into range to get any of his shots off, the gold lead effectively vanishes down there in the bot lane. So we're gonna have to try to find the tools here as Maryville again looking to blitz the top side of the map. Spirit Rush coming out from Blaze. APA gonna do the slow in with the W, and it looks like Blaze is no longer for this world. Zyko getting chunked out a little bit as Blaze looks for a trade, but it will not happen. Odd Orange picking it up.
You see how far they pushed in mid lane here just to make sure that they've got control of multiple places. I was really interested. Okay, I don't think the sweeper actually caught Sketch. I was curious if like Maryville was going to back or if they were going to shift into bot side to go for Dragon. They are actually hanging out around Baron. I thought Fear were going to do this. I thought Fear were going to sit in this bush out of vision, let them go to Dragon, and then go take Baron like they did in game number 2. But now Maryville is actually the one starting it. They don't have Blaze. He's got TP if they can stall for 20 seconds.
Yeah, but it's a pretty long death timer at this point. Not a whole lot of damage to the Baron just yet has been issued by Maryville, but Sketch is in the area. Raining in the artillery. Trickster around the back of the pit with the flash, with the smite, with the cataclysm, looking for the engage. The Baron is continuing to be ticked lower and lower. Big scatters coming out from APA, but the engage has begun. Plux has found the hook, and Zyko the first to fall. Depth charge landing in. It will be the trade back, but now Dragoon will get burst down as well. Sketch is still alive, raining in the onto Azog. He will finally go down, but now Blaze has finally arrived with a teleport, trying to do as much damage as he possibly can. Odd Orange going down. APA and Azog forced to run for the hills, and somehow Cincinnati Fear are ending up on top of this fight. Blaze gonna dash over again, looking to take down the Senna, finishing him off with the charm, and now APA is on the wrong side of the map, trying to escape from the hands of the Fear, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a very easy task for him. He will try to run under the tower, take him up onto the long run, but Cincinnati Fear winning out on that fight.
I feel like if they keep chasing him, they are wasting resources right now. They could be on Dragon, and it looks like actually, I wonder if APA sticks around just to make sure they can't take Dragon, which would be a nice nod of respect. I can't wait to actually look at this a second time, but I'm so interested in what's happening right now on the map.
We're going to see a replay here. Big engage by Flux to start things off.
Yeah, to get Zyko at the beginning of the fight, again, that is the person that you need to keep alive more than anybody, because that's the person that can test Sketch. Sketch didn't go down until the middle of this fight where, like, APA, by that point, Blaze had come in, the damage had been done, and he can kind of just play cleanup, right? Sketch was able to get 2 kills, didn't take damage really until he flashed into the Baron pit, just a little bit of damage at that point. And it feels like the Seraphine ultimate is really the tool to be able to challenge that positioning, prevent Sketch from doing anything like what he just did in that fight. So bringing him down so quickly, a stroke of genius. Well done by Trickster, who was standing on a ward at the time.
Really great fight coming out from Fear, but I have to say, APA played that pretty damn well himself. You saw the scatters before the fight ended up breaking out and was able to stay alive for so long, being the lone survivor, continuing to throw out stun after stun, trying to slow down every member of the Fear. Well, actually, he was the one to end up taking down Sketch in that fight to make sure he didn't continue to take over this game. A bit of a lockdown potential here for the Maryville side as they continue to pressure around the Baron.
Oh. You have Soul Point now for Fear. We're pretty much dead even in gold.
Scatter.
Big. You gotta keep Zyko alive. That's the number one thing. Do not
Oh,
let
they're
Zyko
going here. Big flashes, though,
There we
coming
go!
out from Maryville. The charm will land, but it's not going to do too much. Depth charge landing in onto 2, but nobody has been taken very low on either team. Now Maryville pushing S5. The Sonic Wave connects. Here comes the Dawning Shadow. Plucks down to about half HP. Nobody will fall as Maryville, once again, with the HP advantage, headed back to the Baron Pit.
Here's the problem. There are no ultimates really available. There's Cinder ultimate is up and Dragon's Rage Kick is up. But Sketch has no real backline threat unless Odd Orange gets back there, unless APA finds a way to get on top. APA does have Flash for specifically this purpose.
Bit of a pause here, and man, what a unfortunate time to have that. We were about to see a crazy fight break out, I already know it, but we want to make sure the teams are in the best possible position to play the fight out as well as they can, because let's think about the stakes of this potential Baron fight here, Rebel. A trip to the quarterfinals, the other team will be eliminated, and the qualification points to try to enter into Proving Ground.
Yeah, it's humongous. It's so much of a shift. It's so much more that you have to do in the next tournament if you are either one of these teams to be able to qualify for PG, even into the 10 and up spot. And again, we talked about how those bottom 4 slots, how hard it is to really get into main events after what we saw in the previous split. So now, again, backs against the wall. Both teams really stressing for a moment like this. Just taking us back to a quick moment on the game state, because we have this pause to talk about it. A lot of tools that could be used to contest Sketch are gone. Maryville don't have them. It's got to be APA, almost certainly Odd Orange, unless he's able to slip a Q and a W in there somehow to get onto Sketch into the backline. It feels like APA almost might have to go 1-for-1 to make sure the Cogball's not in the fight and rely on the rest of his team to take things in terms of damage for him, because otherwise it's a stressful situation. It really is. Both these teams are primed and ready, the guns cocked, ready to go for a fight right here, right now.
That's the interesting thing, though, Rebel, because it's on a nice edge for Maryville, but also on the side of Fear, you still have to worry about that potential engage from APA coming through. Sketch has no summoner spells at this point, only has the stopwatch, really, to protect himself from that artillery that can't be kind of pressed upon him by the likes of Maryville. Of course, we're talking about how not all the ultimates are there, but they are able to play with the space so well with the Senna Seraphine, as well as the Gangplank and the Syndra to just continue to zone Sketch away. If he gets caught out one time, that could be the series, that could be the split here for Cincinnati Fear.
Very close between the two teams. I'm so interested to see how it turns out, because this has been incredible. These two teams so back and forth. I know last split, this was like, again, this iteration of the roster is like 3/5 of no team, whereas the team that beat Maryville in quarterfinal or semifinals, my apologies, after Maryville had upset 100 Thieves to get there in the first place, which was astonishing. So history between some of the players on this team and Maryville going back to last qualifier when they were able to come through, I think is very, very important and has to be in the minds of all of these players, and being able to qualify for playoffs, a spot against Jake's Kittens, and the ability to go on in the tournament.
And it's not just kind of how they want to go up in the tournament, it's also in terms of legacy. Every member, I think, that is playing in this game has been to the finals of a Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier event, either in 2021 or in 2022. So a lot is riding on both of these players. They have been to the top of this competition before, and getting eliminated before quarterfinals could be such a significant blow to them.
Said, hey, you take a toll on the mental. You have to be thinking about what Maryville's going through right now, because it happened
Mental
with
and
100 Thieves,
physical,
it happened
I mean.
with UST. Like, yeah, everything has got to be like flooding into their minds at the moment, because again, it's another really close situation where they're in a late game scenario against a team that is very good, that's pushing them to their limit. We'll see if they're able to bend and not break in a fight like this, because you have to be very, very cautious. At this moment, I just wonder what they have to be thinking, right? We're in the midst of a pause. Yeah, they're waiting to get back into the game. They're antsy. They're on edge. I have to wonder what the players are thinking about right now.
It's been a wild, like, I guess 8 days for the Maryville League of Legends team. They flew out to LA. They played their matchup against 100 Thieves, nearly took them down, then went into CELO, lost in a pretty unfortunate fashion to the University of St. Thomas in the semifinals, and now they're here in a very tense situation where one lost fight could mean their tournament run in Proving Grounds is over, as well as Collegiate.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is Maryville is only spelled with 2 L's, so non-biased, but I'm just saying.
They lost once, they lost twice, they're not gonna lose again. That's what you're saying here.
That might be what I'm saying right here, right now. Is we're gonna find out real quick.
Looks like Baron has been eased off of right now. Blaze trying to find a flank. APA nearly able to take him down. Nice usage there of that locket from Plux to keep the Ahri alive. Somehow, Blaze does not go down. It looks like Baron won't be started up just yet.
It's going to be stopped by both sides. Everybody is okay with breaking this and not going to anything else, and I think that's a good decision right now. We're waiting for Sketch to get more items. I think the stopwatch is a great addition, but also Rabadon's right on the verge. Quick Blades actually got finished by Gangplank as well. All these itemization breakpoints are huge for some of these members to be able to make sure they are in the right place, they are in the right power for these fights to be able to take one. Because it feels like we are inevitably going to end up on it. It's either a Baron or the next Dragon. There is going to be a team fight at some point, and I'm waiting to see. Because again, I'm still so concerned about Sketch. He's going to have to burn the stopwatch. He might have Flash up for the Dragon. He won't have Cleanse probably, or at least it'll be really close with both of them. I think Flash definitely, Cleanse probably. It'll be right around that time that he gets it back, which will be crazy to think of, because if they can find a timer slightly before that, if they're timing those summoner spells, they could find aggression into Sketch. And again, removing him is so much of the damage, so much of the ability of Fear to be able to take these fights.
And with the Dragon not spawning for another 2 minutes, we have to take a look at what the positioning is, what the setup is for both of these teams as they await the objective to spawn, always with the possibility of Baron being started up by their opponent. We continue to see Maryville stacked up with 4 members onto the top side of the map. Dragoon has to be careful to not get picked out at the moment, but we could see a potential flank starting to unfold. Plux and Trickster, the duo that has been roaming her up a storm, have arrived. Cataclysm will come up. It'll lock down too, but looks like Trickster might have gone a bit too far, too fast. Blaze dashing into the middle, locking down Zyko with the charm, and Dragoon will pick him up in the first fight. Sketch now off onto the backside, picking up the kill onto Niles as well. Cincinnati Fear are winning this fight, and they are winning it hard. Azog, the final casualty. It is a 5-0 for the Fear.
Really, really incredible stuff from the Fear. I don't think they're going to be able to break the base, but they definitely get the Baron off the back of this, which is going to be enough to set them up for the remainder of the game. It was astonishing the way they were able to use their defensive cooldowns to ensure that some of the very high aggression, some of the high value cooldowns that were being used by Maryville at the front end of that fight to try to pick out Trickster actually ended up not really getting anything done at all. And that is the big thing you want to watch in this. Again, you have 4 members. They're playing to one side, and they've got AP on the other side. Teleports are available for both mid layers. You know this is a possibility. And they try to escape right here. I'm waiting for this, because this initial play onto Trickster was almost humongous. You had like the Seraphine ultimate come through, you got kicked into the wall, disengaged. Yeah, Auto Orange I don't think had the right angle on that, or was trying to disengage it. And just one by one they kind of went down. Everybody, no one was able to really put damage on the Sketch. You can see APA tried to do it, but that's the problem, is like he didn't quite have the range. Sketch was able to really put damage into him as he started to walk up. He needs that flash to be able to do so. When that cooldown wasn't there, that's the problem. Now Maryville sit at a massive deficit. They're 15 seconds from giving a 3-dragon Ocean Soul onto an Immortal Shield Bow Kog'Maw. Not words you want to hear.
Yeah, Ocean Soul can be the enchanter here for the Fear at this point, right? That's the 6th champion buffing up Cog at this point. It's going to get started up right now. Maryville need a really good fight to try and turn this around. Baron buffing a 5,000 gold lead in the hands of Cincinnati right now. Blaze did a big amount of engage in that last fight, and they pull it off again. Trickster with the blast coming over. Will look to find the engage, knocking up 2. Plux going in with a hook as well. Zyko into the Cataclysm, and Dragoon getting locked up, but Blaze chunked low as well. APA goes down as Blaze now on a killing spree. Odd Orange now trying to run for the hills as Dragoon falls in the 1-for-1. Sketch is still untouched onto the backside, but Trickster will get burned down by the likes of Odd Orange, and now Maryville with the numbers advantage with the heals, trying to turn the fight back around. Blaze popping the stopwatch, but Sketch is going to try to turn it. He's going to try to win it. It's a triple kill for the Kog'Maw, and Sketch wins the fight himself.
Oh my goodness, they are able to kill Sketch at all. He's pushed so far back in the fight. It was looking like a really good fight for Maryville, because he never really got access to the frontline member. Really got access to being able to put any damage in anyone until the very last moment, and that is when everything breaks. That is when Maryville loses basically everything, and almost probably loses the game, because Kog'Maw is set up for everything now. Has almost the entire build. Ocean Soul is available, so you have that free enchanter. It's like a free opportunity for Sketch that he doesn't have to press buttons for. It is so incredible how Cincinnati Fear have been able to get around the fact that Sketch has no defenses from anybody and instead just open up possibilities for him to step forward in fights. I love this for Trickster. Trickster found an amazing engagement to start things off, and Sketch was so focused on making sure he wasn't going to get brought down by APA. But look at the health bars on the right side of the fight. This was what was terrifying about everything. Sketch also walks to a barrel, and he almost has to walk out. If he gets tagged by the Q, he's really afraid for himself. And so the frontliners keep shifting in and out for Fear. Eventually, all the cooldowns are down. It allows Sketch to just kind of free fire over wall. Look at that. Yeah, so easy for him after dipping into Fog of War to step back out and put out enough damage to kill everyone on Maryville, not really respecting what he was able to accomplish.
And let's think back to the first game of the series here, Rebel. In that game, Trickster was on Lilia, Plux was on Yumi. These are not champions that can go for the engages, try to make these plays, but these two players have been so crucial in trying to set up these fights for Sketch. They were trying to instead, in the first game, go for maybe utility plays and trying to facilitate Sketch in terms of just buffing him up, but just going for the engages seems to be working out for them beautifully right now. They have the soul, they're looking to push in and try to break open their first inhibitor tower of the game.
Got heal cut in a couple of places, not only on your Seraphine with the Putrefier, but also there's an Obsidian Orb in the inventory of APA to make sure that his burst damage or his abilities that are tagging onto Sketch are going to be enough to drop his healing as well, so you can't quite fight back. Guardian Angel now done, that's full build for Sketch. He is very near impossible to bring down. He's got armor, he's got MR, he's got sustain out the wazoo right now, and he's got 2 lives. That's impossible to deal with. Maryville's going to have to kill him twice, and they haven't been able to do it for a very long time in general. Like you said, this engage is the big thing that I think has been the difference. Rather than allowing Sketch to kind of free fire and hoping to kind of support him as he like 1v5s in a fight, instead they're taking a massive fight and letting him pick along the edges where he needs to be, being this kind of Valing shield around Sketch, being like the main damage dealer in the midst of it.
And I think a bit of an unsung hero here in this game, Rebel, is Blaze here on the Ahri.
Yes.
Able to find these crucial picks, be that kind of secondary carry when Sketch is not going to be able to find as much of an angle as he possibly can. But now Maryville are going to get spotted out here on the top side, and the collapse can come through here. Niles going to try to at least clear the wave out before the fight ensues. Dragoon does have that ultimate timed out, but APA will not win this 1v1. A big scatter, but the Ignite is continuing to tick. Dragoon trying to find the angle. The Axe not going to be able to find it, and Niles will die on the backside. So it is just 1 kill for now. APA continuing to try and survive. The orb will get stopwatched away from, and now APA has to run. The rocket's not going to come out. Here comes the hook, but it will be the kill onto Dragoon. APA is still alive, and APA is not dead just yet. Finally, the flag takes him down, but somehow APA picks up 1 in a disastrous attempt from Maryville.
But Sketch is alive, and that's the problem. They didn't need Sketch for basically anything here, and now all they need to do is wait for the wave. Everyone's backing on Maryville, but I don't know that they have enough right here with just the 3 remaining members to stop the level 17 Kog'Maw, to stop them from cracking the base right here and right now.
Not a lot of damage. All of the DPS for Maryville fell in that engage, and now the base is going to start to get cracked open. Top lane inhibitor falls. 1 wave is here for the Fear. The hook does not land onto a crucial player just yet, but now, how much damage can Maryville do? How can they try to force the Cincinnati Fear away? Trickster is going to flag and drag out of the base. The respawns are coming through. Niles is up, has the cannon barrage if they want to try and force a fight, but it looks like they're going to be more than content with Fear not ending the game just yet.
No, but they can walk right back to Baron and try to force a fight immediately after this. You can see they've got the setup. They leave the residual vision on their way back to it. They've got the Ocean Soul for longevity. They don't even have to worry about poke damage coming in because they can just heal it up with this soul point that they're on. A minute 30 until Elder Dragon feels like it's the next and only opportunity for Maryville to really get back into this game. They're down a good chunk of gold. Probably most of that's actually in Sketch and maybe in Blazes as well with the 21 stack Magi's, but ultimately I think Maryville is still capable of winning a game like this. It's just been so hard for them to find the fight that is necessary to really get onto Sketch, to find who it is that can put this put the Kog'Maw in the dirt, as it were. And I'm curious if somebody else can step up. So far APA's been the one that they've been relying on to do it. They've been able to. Yeah, it looks like that's blind, and there's no way to stop this for the most part.
The rush comes out. Baron is chunking low, about 2,000 HP, and nobody from Maryville is in range to try and secure the steal, but it looks like the Saints want to go for the fight. Wow. With a massive kick. Here comes the charm as well, but Sketch is still alive. Now Trickster up into the back line, a 3-man cataclysm into everybody alongside the knockups of Plux and Blaze, now unstoppable, looking to push forward. The first falls for Maryville, and now Sketch is godlike. Another charm lands onto APA, and I think the Cincinnati Fear might have done it. Niles and Zyko have to run for the hills, and there comes the hook, barely missing out, but Blaze will pick up the final one onto Zyko. It's a triple kill for the Yari. Sketch, the one to start it off, will finish off the series with the ace, and the Cincinnati Fear are headed to the Proving Grounds playoffs.
Goodness gracious, holy Cincinnati Fear, able to come back. They lost 2 games in a row. They lost the first game in very convincing fashion to Maryville. Able to be resilient after losing their bans. They come back after a determined loss, and they're able to put together compositions that really work. They lean super heavily into Sketch, but really everybody performed in this last game. Moments where Plux, Blaze, Trickster, Dragoon, everybody had their bright spots in a series like this. Yes, we were highlighting Sketch most of the time. Yes, he was the primary damage dealer, but that last fight felt like he wasn't that involved because of the gangplank barrels, and they still smashed that fight.
What a game. What a series, Rebel. I feel like this is every time we're on the cast together, we get some crazy stuff happening, whether it's in Collegiate, whether it's here in Proving Grounds, but man, really good stuff coming out from Cincinnati Fear. This was the best that we've seen from them all split. They really looked cohesive, playing around Sketch. They finally found the kind of condition that they want in order to take these games and just take over the Rift to sort of when you get to the late game. And you have to feel for Maryville a little bit. You know, they are in a bit of a different environment than they're used to. They just, you know, had their collegiate season end as well. They're going to hopefully be back here for the second qualifier, but you definitely feel for them as a team that many were expecting to really look dominant throughout the summer.
I think it's a bit of a rough run, right? Like, they had so many things to do in a row. Like, part of this is, like, yes, they're out of the tournament. They'll come back for 2, right? And now they get a bit of a break. Like, they can take a bit more relaxing. They can do more study on teams. And they've always been a team that's famously good as, like, series tend to continue on, tend to make adaptations. And that's something that I think Jensen Go is going to be able to do. Really take a look at what's been going on recently with, like, these 3 series losses in a row and be able to fix some of the things so that they can come out as a contender. Really, really impressive, though, again, from the side of Fear, to be able to come out, again, overcome adversity, to be able to overcome some of the losses that they took to Maryville previously, and to really come up with strategies that were going to be beneficial to set up their players to the best of their abilities. Like I said, that last game, everybody was performing to an absolutely insane level, like way higher than I'd seen. These are the players that we recognize. These are the players that we see as being greater than the sum of their parts when they're playing together, and when their hearts are as good as the players that they've got on this roster, man, it is a dangerous squad.
And Blaze, I think, really took a big step up. Of course, Sketch was kind of the main carry that we were building up throughout the past weeks, but Blaze, you know, had some struggles throughout the early parts of the season, and finally had some really great performances on the Ahri in those last 2 games, finding crucial picks, being a really significant damage dealer as well. And that's all the pieces. Everyone took a step up here for the Cincinnati Fear, and that's how they took the victory over Maryville and are now set up with the date against Jake's Kittens tomorrow.
Yeah, the ability of this team to, like, they have the damage dealers on the front line, and so much of Maryville's focus was put into making sure Kog'Maw couldn't do damage, and they didn't realize that as these fights were ticking forward, as, like, the Kog'Maw kind of wasn't involved, the kills were going into Blaze, the kills were going into Dragoon, the kills were going into other members that started to get damage with this front line. So it was the Death Ball and not the Kog'Maw, like, lacking behind the Death Ball that actually ended up becoming the real threat. And so walking into tomorrow, like, bot lane is a really powerful tool for Jake's Kittens. They've got an amazing bot lane. You Scooped, how about that? Like, he gets to face off against some of his former teammates. Yeah, that's going to be an exciting one. But we'll see if they can continue that dominance. Because today, if we get that performance again from Sketch and Plux, I really think this team can do some really credible things.
Excited to see what Cincinnati will be able to continue to produce as we look forward throughout the playoffs of the Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier. But that's it for us on the caster desk. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Janira will be talking to Blaze about that win.